college. I'm really excited to have a chance to meet y'all today. I'm excited to be here hosting this webinar, spotlighting J-term, our winter term on campus. It is one of my favorite times on campus, so I love that I have a chance to spend the next 45 minutes talking with y'all, with some amazing panelists here joining us. So our hope and dream for this period of time is to talk a little bit about the J-term experience, hear about the different kind of J-term experiences that are had on campus and sometimes off campus as well. But we really want to also have a chance to answer your questions. So I'm gonna invite y'all to ask any questions in the Q&A box. Notice that the chat feature is turned off. So please ask your questions using that question and answer throughout this time. So for the first half of this, we'll have a chance to just talk and hear a little bit about our panelists, but the second half of this is gonna be geared towards your questions. So please, really encouraging y'all to have an opportunity to do so. Yeah, so talk just quick excerpt of what J-term is. Middlebury has this great opportunity to operate on a 4-1-4 academic system where students generally take 4 courses in the fall, 4 courses in the spring, and then 1 course during our winter term, J-term, which takes place in the month of January, in which you're taking 1 singular course throughout that time. So I'd love to just kind of get us kicked off and hear about these different experiences that I mentioned earlier. So Jessica, go right ahead.
Okay, great. Thanks, Steve. So my name is Jessica Holmes. I'm a professor of economics here at Middlebury. I've been here since, actually my very first day of class was September 11th, 2001. So I will never forget my first day at Middlebury. But anyway, I've been here for many years, and I would say winter term is one of the unique experiences at Middlebury. With 4 weeks dedicated to 1 course with 1 topic, there's plenty of flexibility in the design of the curriculum. And with no scheduling conflicts, faculty can be really creative during that time. They can sample new tests, new topics. They can think differently about how they develop their courses and experiment. And so what I've done is I've chosen to use that time to create immersive hands-on learning experiences for my students. For 6 years, I directed a program called Midcore, which was a 40-hour-a-week, very intensive, hands-on leadership and innovation program. And it's designed to build skills through hands-on learning experiences with practitioners from the non-academic world. So over the course of a month, I would have 40 or so mentors run workshops to build skills in leadership, innovation, communication, strategic thinking. So for example, if I wanted to build skills in ideation, I invited the co-founder of Netflix to come in to run a workshop with us to help students learn how to ideate and how to develop ideas. If I wanted to teach students skills in crisis management, I invited governors to come in and run crisis simulation exercises with them. So that was 1 course that I designed and ran over our January term. And the flexibility of having just that 1 course allowed it to be an immersive experience. Since I stepped down from that role about 3 years ago, I've developed a course now called Health Policy in Action, which I like to think of as a 4-to-1 academic internship. Basically, I place students in health policy internships in Vermont. They work 4 days a week on site, grappling with a strategic challenge faced by a healthcare organization. And then 1 day a week, they're in class with me, building skills to ensure professional and project success. So to give you a couple of examples, I had students working with the Director of Healthcare Reform for Vermont. I had students working with the University of Vermont Healthcare Network Strategic Team. I had students working with the Vermont Area Hospital Association. So all of them with specific projects that I curated along with the sponsors, and the students could do that for a month. And so they lived actually off-site in a house in Montpelier, lived together, and it was a kind of a cohort-style learning model. So J-term allows those kinds of flexible, intensive, cohort-style, hands-on experiences. And that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years.
Thank you, Jessica. That J-term sounds really cool. I wish I would have had a chance to take it as a student. Sounds really fun. Kind of, continuing on the different courses that are held on campus, I'm gonna invite Jack to talk a little bit about his experiences and introduce himself.
Absolutely. Thanks, Steve. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm Jack Tipper, and I taught the J-term class as a visiting instructor last January. I graduated back in 2016 with a music major and a Chinese minor from Middlebury, and Steve and I became friends during undergrad. And after graduating, I moved to Los Angeles, where I ran my audio services business and an artist project up until COVID hit. And all of my professional work has been contract-based ever since graduation, which made teaching a J-term class last winter super easy to make happen. I also taught a similar class as a winter term workshop 2 years in a row during undergrad, so I sort of already had the curriculum worked out. I coordinated with the music department to make sure that my proposed class would mesh with the curriculum back in 2019. And the rest is history. I'm currently working towards a master's degree in music tech at NYU, and I hope to come back and teach another J-term class at Mid in the future once I finish this degree. And so the intensive class that I taught over the 4 weeks of J-term at the beginning of this year was on electronic music production and digital audio synthesis. And the students learned to design and arrange sounds in music creation software workstation called Ableton Live. We also worked with a software synthesizer called X for Serum, and we covered a ton of ground in our 4 weeks together. The students made some incredible projects. At the end of the term, we had a public presentation at a small venue on campus called the Gamut Room, and almost all the students were taking advantage of J-term to try something new and outside of their major. I think that's one of the best opportunities of J-term at Middlebury, one of my favorite aspects at least. When I was doing my undergrad, I took a class called Energy Resources in the geology department, which was completely separate from what I focused on with music and Chinese. And that was one of my favorite experiences. It was a really, really cool class and I learned a lot. So highly recommend using J-term to try something new.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, and as Jack mentioned, he was one of our visiting instructors. We have many visiting professors, visiting instructors joining us for the month of January, having a chance to really share some things that they are very passionate about for that month. I know one of my favorite moments was taking a course with the local school counselor around communications and connectedness, how high school students are developing social skills or, are being affected by their technology in developing their social skills, and hearing that from someone who was engaged and a practitioner and cared deeply about that. But there's many different ways to do J-term, and there's many different pieces here. So I'd like to invite Franklin to tell us a little bit about your experience on campus.
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Franklin. I'm a third-year computer science major here at Middlebury. I guess what I would be talking about this panel is my J-term experience in midcore. So I was part of the winter program last J-term. A little bit about me at Middlebury. I'm a part of the underrepresented in STEM organization. I'm the treasurer there. I have a lot of fun with that. If any prospective students are here, want to get into STEM, it's a neat program to sort of learn more about that. I'm also part of the Middlebury Gaming Club. I'm the president of that. So that's fun. It's a fun little club to sort of meet up and just play games and have fun and relax after like all your classes. Yeah, I would say that's it. I'm currently studying fully remote in Los Angeles this semester, and hopefully I can be back for maybe a J-term session next year.
Awesome. And Franklin, how was your experience with midcore? What did that feel like for you?
Yeah, so it was actually something that I wasn't, at least I don't think it's super expected for a computer science major to have. It's mostly something that you see like a lot of finance people go into, or a lot of business majors, economic majors go into. But it's definitely an experience that everyone can enjoy. And I vouch and I stand by that, because there's a lot of just sort of getting yourself into like the professional world, networking and like connecting with other people and like solving problems is like a big part of it. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. Jessica described all these really cool mentors coming to participate and teach different skills. Did you walk away with any, new skills that you're excited to like continue with or add into your computer science experience?
Yeah, a huge part of computer science, and for me specifically, software engineering, is networking. So to get opportunities in the summer and to get like an offer and for after I graduate, a huge part of that is networking with people in the industry. And there were so many resources to network with both the people in the program and just to build networking skills as far as like navigating LinkedIn or presenting yourself or giving yourself like a 30-second speech about who you are and what you want from for like your experience as far as like maybe an internship or a job. So I think that's probably one of my biggest takeaways, is the ability to network better.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Franklin. And this is because I'm always curious about folks who participate in midcore. What was your pitch? What was your project?
Sure. So my project was something called due deadlines. So for people who don't know about the mid-core program, at the end, you're sort of to present a personal project that you work on that you spend, I think it's about 3 or 4 of the weeks. I think it's like 3 of the weeks that you're there. And you pretty much spend the time that you're there, and you spend like and you use like the skills that you learn to sort of develop your own personal project on the side. And for me, I try to integrate computer science and like building a program and sort of fleshing that out. And it was a lot of fun just developing it, talking to people about my ideas, iterating their ideas, because that definitely wasn't my first idea. And yeah, and today I'm still sort of trying to get back into seeing how I can develop it as I become better with programming and computer science in general.
Awesome. Thank you, Franklin. Appreciate you sharing.
Sure.
So something that's very much a tradition of many Middlebury students' experiences on campus is taking a language. Ellie, I'm gonna invite you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about that language experience is like.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Franklin, first, like now I want to take a Big Four. I should try to do that before I graduate in the next 2 years. But my name is Ellie. I am a junior here at Middlebury right now. I'm a double major in international politics and economics and Chinese. And that kind of goes into my experience with JTERM my freshman year. I took Chinese, that's the only class I took. So like 4 weeks of just immersion of Mandarin Chinese was an unforgettable experience. It is something that I was like value so much upon reflection. In the moment, it can feel like you're kind of like, it's a lot to take in to learn a whole new language and to only be working on that. But I really think that like having the opportunity to work so closely with professors that are dedicated to their language and like learning that language and teaching it, I think was such an opportunity to hone in on the nuances that language and linguistics brings to community and culture. And also it allowed you to really immerse into the culture because you're spending your whole entire time in your class time learning the language and the culture. So it's not like you're just like learning a bunch of vocab words and then scurrying off to your next class. You get to really just sit and enjoy all aspects of the learning of it. In addition to that, I think have the language aspect, you have a lot more opportunities in JTERM to have a sense of community and build that community within your classmates, because they're also there alongside you on that journey. When you're getting stuck on the grammar or when you're celebrating and learning about holidays and other fun activities that you're doing and watching movies together outside of class time in the language. Also with the faculty, oftentimes they would have meals with us, whether that is going like to breakfast in the morning before running to proc before class starts at 9, or grabbing a meal in town when it's like not COVID. And I think also like there's just so much more like ability to foster, in my opinion, it really fostered my love for learning Mandarin and wanting to pursue it, not just from a personal standpoint, but I can also see how it can be useful in my career one day. So I think that like Middlebury is just a great place to learn language, but then to be able to have the opportunity to really focus on something that you're passionate about, whether that is language or mid-core innovation, like that was like the best part about JTERM, is being able to have that time to explore, because that's like definitely a reason why I think a lot of us chose a liberal arts education.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ellie. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Before I pass it on to our next panelist, I'm gonna continue to invite y'all to ask any questions that are coming up, things that y'all are thinking about. But I'm passing the mic to Amanda to talk to us about something that's happening outside the class, workshops. Do you mind introducing yourself, Amanda, telling us a little bit about winter workshops on campus?
Yeah, sure. So hello, everyone. My name is Amanda. I am a senior here at Middlebury, and my major is molecular biology and biochemistry. So I can speak a little bit about workshops, which are a great thing that are happening on campus during JTERM. So during JTERM, like we said already, you're taking one class, so that leaves a lot of flexibility in your schedule outside of class to do other things. So one of the great things that we have on campus is workshops. So workshops are student-led, and they can be range a lot of different topics. I've seen workshops for calligraphy, ceramics, painting, dance workshops, martial arts, so they can range a lot of different topics. So it's great because it gives students an opportunity to focus on some more recreational activities that they maybe not have had a chance to do during the school year or even at all. I know there's some workshops for skiing and ice skating, which are really interesting as well. So it's great because you can get together with people who might also have an interest in that topic or event or idea and just collaborate and do things together. So I can speak a little bit more about the dance workshops because I've been in some and I've also had the opportunity to lead one, which was an amazing experience. So we would meet a couple times a week for about an hour or two and just get together and dance, which is great because it gives people the opportunity to get that exercise during a very, very cold month and move around and move their bodies. But it's also great because it is a PE credit. So there's a lot of workshops that do count as PE credits as well. So you can get that physical activity in a semester where you might have some more time to do some of that stuff because it's a lot more flexible. So I really love workshops. I love participating in them and meeting the people that I probably wouldn't have interacted with in a classroom setting just because we're not doing something academic usually and it's just more amusement based. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Amanda. Just because I'm dying to know, what are the names of the workshops you were in or led?
Okay, so I did darkroom photography my freshman year. And then I participated in the K-pop workshop, and then that's also the same one that I led the following year, and we called it K-pop 101 Produce, which is the name of one of the K-pop shows, so we kind of mimicked that.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks, Amanda. And to round us out, Alex, do you mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your experiences so far as a senior?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So my name is Alex. I am a senior here at Middlebury, and I major in international and global studies with a focus in Latin America. And I guess what I'll bring to the table is sharing a bit about all of the very different J-term experiences I've had over the past 3 years. So my first year here at Middlebury, I took a class called Art of the Argument, which I took sort of out of fear, but also out of like, I need to do this because I'm so scared of speaking in front of other people. And the class was co-taught by someone who is in the theater industry and then a lawyer. And the idea of the class was learning how to form arguments, how to stand up in front of people and talk. And I remember the first day of class, I went in and there were probably 40 people in the class and we were sitting there. And one of the professors said, okay, I'm going to call in 2 people in this class and you're going to have to stand up here and I'm going to give each of you a side of an argument that you won't know in advance, and then you have to just go at it. And I was one of the people chosen, of course, and I was absolutely terrified, but it definitely helped me with my ability to speak in front of other people. I'm doing it now. I work in admissions now, so clearly it got me somewhere. And then my sophomore year, I took a class called Narratives on Rivers and Ecology, and that was a sort of creative writing type of a course and focused on nature writing, as you might gather from the title. But what was really cool about it was that we actually spent 5 days going to Acadia National Park. And I'm from Maine, so I've been there before, but it was really quite a different perspective to be there in the winter. We were really the only people in the park. It was actually during the government shutdown. And so we really were the only people in the park, and we were staying in these housing where researchers normally stay. And we got to go and talk to different people who work in the park, who do research there, and sort of use what they taught us to inform our writing. So some of it was creative, some of it was more informative and scientific. And I was pretty unfamiliar with scientific writing before that. So I think that that was a really exciting experience for me to sort of branch out, because I really do enjoy writing, but it was a new kind of writing and also travel involved, which was very exciting in winter and also very cold. And then this past year, so my junior year, I actually did not spend it on campus. I was abroad for my fall and spring, but I was back in the States during J-term, and I found an internship in Washington, D.C. at an immigration law nonprofit called the CARE Coalition, which is Capital Area Immigrant Rights. And I'm really interested in immigration law and sort of like the intersections of like journalism and communications with immigration rights and the legal aspects of it. So a lot of different things, but I found that internship through the center's Center for Careers and Internships here at Middlebury. And it was super exciting. I got to do a lot of research and help lawyers with like real cases that they were working on in the moment. So every day looked very different for me, and I hadn't really spent much time in DC prior to that. But I guess sort of to sum it all up, I had so many different J-term experiences, and I think all of them were incredibly valuable. And I guess also to add to what Amanda was saying, I think workshops are one of the best parts of J-term. I did a dance workshop my first year during J-term, and that's how I discovered the dance group that I then became much more involved with, which is the South Asian dance group on campus. And it's no cuts. I'm not that great at dancing, but it's so, so fun, and was like a really cool opportunity for me to connect with my South Asian heritage, and something that I probably would have been like too afraid to try during a normal time. But I think because J-term just has that time and the space to sort of be like, this sounds pretty interesting. I guess I'll give it a try. I think that was really exciting for me.
Thank you so much, Alex. All right, folks, I'm gonna give our panelists an opportunity to take a drink of water. I'm gonna share my screen really quickly to share everyone's full names. And once again, keep thinking about those questions. I also put up my own email address there. If folks have questions about the admissions process in general, feel free to reach out because we will be available to talking about admissions more generally throughout the year. Okay.